Hello, welcome to the Military Author Takeover, sponsored by Columbia Southern University at the beautiful Veterans Growing America VGA in Virginia. Stop by, please check out VGA for the entrepreneurs that are here. That's all associated with the military connected community. We're so honored to host this first Military Authors Takeover with my co-host here, D. Mosley. We're both with Columbia Southern University, and we are honored to be here with Mataya Wright Williams. Man, what an opportunity. Before we let her give her flowers and introduce herself, I tell you, I'm so proud of her. We've met over the last couple of years. She is active, right now, and she's at the 187th Wing in Montgomery, Alabama, as the command chief, historic Red Tails wing. So I just wanted to count that out, shout that out real quick. So Mataya, we are so honored to have you here. So honored that when we saw your email pop up into this awesome opportunity, I was so excited. I'm like, hey, first of all, I would have came to you for this opportunity, but you're joining us here in Virginia just says a lot, and we're so honored to have you. So as we get started, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Just let the audience know who you are, and we'll go from there.
Okay, before I do, thank you both for putting this on. This is a great opportunity. The authors before me have been phenomenal, and it's just been amazing. So thank you guys for doing this. And a little bit about me: I am from Montgomery, Alabama, born and raised. I'm a wife and a mom and an awesome sister. And I said that because my sister is here joining me in the audience. And I have a nonprofit called Girl Pals, and it's just really to uplift and give back to our underserved girls in our neighborhood and community. So we do a lot of work with that. So I'm most proud of that, being the founder of it, and just seeing the work that we do behind the scenes. And that's just pretty much about me, and still serving currently.
Awesome, thank you. And I know you gave the humility. I always honor that with you. And you said that's a little bit about me, but it's just so much more. I tell you, Google or chat this woman and amazing things she's doing down in Montgomery, the historic things that she's doing down there to bring in, just the world's greatest fighter into that fighter wing and painting it with the red tail, which is part of all of our legacy as veteran community, regardless of what branch you served in. So, Ty, we want to get into Wounded Warrior with Invisible Scars, your book, which is something that can resonate in any community, veteran, outside the veteran. It's something that is a personal interest of mine, and I'm just excited to kind of talk to you about this. But we talk about the book being a memoir chronicling the author's upbringing, military service, family trauma, and the visible emotional scars that accompany service while emphasizing resilience, faith, and healing. Man, so many powerful words in there. But I tell you, when I circle things on my card all the time, and what jumps out in the word healing jumps out at me. So many things in there, but I'm glad you emphasized that part at the end about it's all about the healing piece. So as we dive into that, why was now the time? And you said you're active, you're busy, you're a historic wing, you have a nonprofit, you have about 40,000 other things going on. Why at this point did you think it was so critical for you to write this book?
I'm glad you asked that question. Like, right now is the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for years I quietly held in all of the scars and all the
Mm-hmm.
things that I dealt with. And then over the time, through mission, we pushed through. We've been taught that, we've been trained.
Yeah.
Don't stop, don't quit, keep going, and you cannot look like what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And at the levels that we've been blessed to ascend to, we can't always look like how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a mask. So, now that I'm getting close to retirement, reflection has really taken its course. And in that reflection, I've come with a sense of responsibility too, that I can't just talk about it, I got to be about it. And if I'm going to be about it, that means showing those invisible things that people don't get to see every day about Mataya, or Chief, as they would say,
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm still serving. And I just wanted to connect with those airmen that I'm telling to do the right thing about seeking help. I got to do it also. And in order to get people to trust the process or the system, they got to see you do it first.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't ask people to do things that I'm not doing. And I had some stuff that I needed to work through.
Yeah.
And I could not be my whole healthy self to tell them to be healthy if I was unhealthy.
No, I appreciate that. And, when I thought about, we were talking about you coming here and now, being on the couch with us, everybody's journey is their journey. And when they decide to do this or not is their journey, part of their journey. But you deciding to do this while you were still in uniform, I think is really something we should note. And the people who are serving with you are getting a chance to see Mataya and their chief and their leader before you take that uniform off. So I think what was that decision? How would that decision to come into that decision and go? I know where I'm at today, but I'm still going to do it.
Transparency.
Absolutely.
And that came from the healing piece. When you talked about I put it at the end,
Mm-hmm.
it had to be at the end, because if it wasn't done then it wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be my whole healthy self, leading the formation that I'm telling to be healthy.
Yeah.
And it was time. And in order to do that, I needed to do the work.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So we talk about invisible scars, and I think that meaning can be something different.
Yes.
Different people. So what does invisible scars mean to you as the author and the person who's putting this message out?
It was the sexual harassment that I dealt with,
Mm-hmm.
sexual assault. It was having the trauma, grief, the loss of my mother,
Mm-hmm.
Different circumstances and situations where sometimes being left out, looked over, picked on to be picked out, just different things that was a whole package of a lot of things that I had to work through.
Mm-hmm.
Family trauma, family
Yeah.
drama. That stuff leaves scars, and then also in the service, in the formation, military wounds. From our wingmen, our battle buddies, the people that have sworn to be our side by side, sometimes inflict the most pain, and that leave a lot of invisible scars too.
Yeah. We talk about that history of you being, where you're at today, and full circle. And a lot of us who have joined, never get the opportunity to serve in the city we were born in,
Yes.
especially at the end of our career. And I think there's something uniquely special about that. So how does your upbringing prepare you for who you are today, being a child of Montgomery, Alabama,
Yes.
and being one of the most visible faces in Montgomery, Alabama in that uniform and out? So how did your upbringing prepare you for all of those things and the journey that you're on today?
So my start was in one of the best projects Montgomery, Alabama have to offer, and that's Victor Tulane Court. And born and raised in the project, it taught me a lot of values that the community that I grew up in, I don't think any suburban area could have taught me.
Mm.
I needed to be where I was
Mm-hmm.
with the people that I was with to learn the things that I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really the fact of having the determination skills, seeing my mother work so hard, and always making sure that she was visible for us to be not just a victim of her circumstance. She
Mm-hmm.
worked every day, and we ate every day. I cannot remember a time where our lights was off and we were getting put out. We had what we needed, even though we were in the project. My mom made our project apartment feel like our house, which was our home. So with that being said, the resiliency that I was forced to learn early, and just working through the things that I had to work through, it just was where we are now.
Okay. From the time you walked in, beautiful veteran grown America to say
Yes.
VGA, from the time you walked in here, the first thing you did is introduce me to your sister. Right. And I think every time I see you or see something about you, you are always talking about a family member or family, which we all can say is a village,
Yes.
right? And so I know you were just talking about how you literally talk more about your sister than you talk about. You always do that, and I think that shows about who you are. So what role you talk about where you grew up in Montgomery, which I had the honor of serving twice in Montgomery. My first military base ever at 19 years old, Montgomery, Alabama. My last military base at 43 years old. So my bookends are Montgomery, Alabama. So I feel like I'm almost like an adjacent native son
Yeah.
of Montgomery. But what role did that village play? You talk about your mother, you talk about your sister, you talk about your family. You're always connected to that some kind of way. So what did that village play in a role of who you are?
I think that village let me know right off who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything that happened around us, it could have happened to me, but I had the village that protected me.
Mm.
They were honest with me. They told me, if you do this, this is going to happen. My parents were stricter than others, so
Mm-hmm.
they had rules. I had to follow those rules because I was not grown. And I had older sisters and brothers, which kind of became that guide. With them being there, going through the things that they went through, they had those barriers up that their baby sister was able to go
Mm-hmm.
through life a little bit safer.
Yeah.
It was easier. So a lot of things that they provided for me was awesome. The mentors that I had, a lot of my military leaders were great mentors to me. I've had coaches, I've had a lot of mentorships throughout my relationship with my peers. bouncing different things off. So that village is what I consider like my family.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll pivot back into the book, and I turn it over to my co-host here, Dee. But veterans have it's a lot of misconceptions.
Yes.
You talk about invisible wounds and scars and different things, and I think earlier today we heard the founder here, Darnell, talk about why they started this facility, VGA, and the messaging of what veterans are, and how he was on a journey to change that. So, what do you think are some of the misconceptions that exist about veterans in this space about how we heal, how we view our trauma, how we are uniquely, exposed to different things so early and often, and how do we talk about that outside and the 99% that don't serve? How do we talk about that? So, what are some of those misconceptions you think society sees?
I think they think we're all one veteran is all veterans.
Mm.
And even though we've served, we all have served in different capacities. So our traumas are different. The things that we've experienced are different. Every veteran don't experience the same thing. And what works for one vet may not work for another. And I think that if the community just have a little bit more compassion to try to understand the unique atrocities that veterans deal with, I think the veteran community itself will be more apt to open up. I think the homelessness will probably combat itself. I think they will feel that people really care, so they will really seek out for help. We have now veterans, they steer away because we do feel like we're misunderstood. And, going to the battlefield is a different war than coming home, standing on the block and somebody shooting. The shots sound different than just in the neighborhood than on the battlefield. So it's just a different way of learning how to connect with those veterans and learning how to truly connect with them or with us.
I think that was so powerful. You said every veteran's journey is different. I mean, and that's so, and we were talking earlier, like my dad's a Vietnam vet, but he served 2 years, and 2 years in Vietnam, 4 years in the Marine Corps. My uncle did 4 years in the Army, Vietnam vet, but my uncle will wear the Vietnam hat, my dad won't. Everybody's journey is different of why. They both served in combat front units. They both were in two different services, but one will identify as a veteran and one will not. But we have to understand that everybody's journey is different.
Absolutely.
And you have to talk to them different. Because I've heard people talk to my dad, why don't you recognize yourself as that's not the entry point to the story.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and with all the things that you have been through and the things that you put in the book, very simple question for you: what has helped you heal? Because I mean that it's important, and is that something you're still going through, or what has really helped you heal?
So the full transparent scope of all of this is faith. Having to get back to the bedrock of who I truly belong to, because I don't belong to myself. And I was wallowing in my stuff because I carried it by myself. And the Father said, turn it over to me. Who are you to carry these burdens by yourself? I'm here. And I had to reset and regroup and refocus. And if I'm truly a believer, I had to really believe. And I gave it to him. And I cried out and I asked, which direction do I need to go? And the meaningful relationships that he allowed me to grow into, I had people that was reaching out that I hadn't spoken to in forever, or new connections. But they were the right people at the right time. And being able to have safe spaces to talk about those things. Being able to call my sisters and tell them, I'm not having a good day today. Or them feeling that their baby sister isn't okay and hey, Taya, how are you? And me being open enough and honest enough to say, hey, I'm just not doing good. And my husband and my son being there to motivate me through all of that, to be supportive and understanding. So that was really what I did. So that's how I get to the healing, and today I'm still in counseling. I still do the work. I do go to support groups. I'm a speaker too at certain groups, because one way to heal about it is to talk about it. And then if I want you to truly see the process work, then I have to be the walking testament of that. So I can't talk about the therapy and then don't have a story to talk about the therapy.
That's right.
So I'm still doing my work now.
And that's a perfect segue into when readers buy this book. What do you hope that they do once they finish reading it? Because so many times, we read a book, we go to a conference, we, take all these wonderful notes, and, we fist pump individuals, all the way, and then they don't do anything with the information. So what are you hoping that they do when they buy this book?
I
and read
hope
it.
that the reflection gets us back to the compassion compass. I think I'm asking that the empathy side take over a little bit so people can empathize and truly know that at any moment we're one step away from trauma. All of us have issues that we just handle differently, but all of us suffer with something. And that know that everybody is battling something every day. Every person we meet and encounter, they're dealing with something. And I just hope people get back to the human side of life to know that we are better together. We live as we rise, and we rise as we lift. And if we talk about community, we can't talk about it. We got to be about it. And community means putting your money where your mouth is, being where you're supposed to be, showing up on time. And if I say that I got your back, I need to have your back. And when you call me, I can't be so busy to where I can't stop what I'm doing to come help a brother or sister in need if I'm talking about that. And I just think putting the trust back into the community, putting the empathy back into the community, putting the voices back into the community is what is going to help us get back together.
That's awesome. Well said, right? That was well said. And so before you tell us where we can find your book and where we can connect with you, I want to read a quote, and I just want you to finish it. It says, "They say it takes a village to raise a child. My village
showed up and showed out. They truly protected me. I am who I am today because of my village. I hope I am a strong representation of my village. The village is just getting started because I am part of the village now, and I am taking this thing all the way to the top. So when I say I got you, sis, I got you. When I say I got you, brother, I got you."
Where can we find you? Well spoken. Well said. Please tell us how we can buy your book and where we can find you if we want to connect.
Okay, so the book is on Amazon. I do have an email. It is girlpalsnpo@gmail.com. And you can also use my Mataya Williams @gmail.com. Also, we do have a web page, but it's under construction, so I don't want to give that out. But you guys can reach me on LinkedIn, also at Mataya Williams, and on Facebook, Mataya Wright Williams.
All right. Well, CSU. Well, we're going to buy your book. So, and we encourage everyone to buy this book. Ladies and gentlemen, Mataya Williams.
Thank you. Over. Thank you, Lord.